How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation, time to get that imagination all revved up, get into some creativity, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Todd Lockwood. If you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. He's worked with Magic the Gathering, World of Warcraft, I think it's Dritz. I forget how you say that. But just a huge group of really prolific and wonderful communities and properties in the fantasy world, and I think he really kind of embodies some of the great fantasy artists of the past, and kind of brings a really lovely voice to future fantasy artists and concept artists to come, and kind of is a real blend of that beautiful world. He really calls upon a lot of ideals that were brought around in the medieval period, and then puts his own take and his own spin on them. I really love his use of color, especially in this one. I think his flow is really interesting. You can see the main path of action through the composition of this piece. I really like the expressions that he builds into each one of his characters. You can really tell that there's like fear and shock and some horror and surprise and all those ones. Great master of anatomy through here. And I love how towards the back he really pulls away from some detail to make sure that the stuff in the foreground really has the bulk of the detail, and it causes the eye to want to really look towards those places where there's more information and more detail, along with the dragon as well. So let's take a look at a couple other pieces. Again, this one I feel like there's just a really great tonality and feel to this piece overall. I feel like everything kind of blends together really well, and there's nothing really that it's all complementary, I guess I would say, with the and really great use of the lighting. The way that the light just pours over this piece is just gorgeous. This one I really liked. I thought there was just a great use of anatomy, a really dynamic perspective, and I really like the way that he did the little braids in the beard. I thought that sort of when he capped those off was really pretty. I really like the idea behind this one. I think that's really fun to kind of golden mythical harp, and then you've got these little nibs, just ripping it apart. I thought that was a really interesting imaginative idea and layout for this piece as well. So definitely check out more from him. I'll throw a link in the description below if you guys want to check out some more of his concept art, but just check out this awesome little hellhound beast. I thought that was really great. He really does have a great grasp on anatomy and structure, which is a great thing to have, because then you can give that extra sense or illusion of life to each one of your characters by understanding those foundation principles. I did want to share a quote that I was able to find from him in an interview that he did, and he said, "Inspiration is everywhere. I think I'm always looking at things. It's all grist. It's all useful." Grist, if you're not familiar with it, is something they use when they're making bread, I believe. It's like a wheat or type of material. It basically means everything is useful. Again, it kind of reiterates that again, but that's kind of the term, and that's great because it's kind of that mindset of try to get to that point in your workflow where you're always looking for inspiration, or you're always looking to see things differently, or see how you can incorporate the things around you and the things you experience and the things that you see into your own work, and improve upon your own voice and get inspired by even things that you wouldn't necessarily think would be a typical inspiration. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into some animation for today. This is the Cop rig. It's a free rig you can grab over at davidorreilly.com, part of his External World collection of rigs, and I'll throw a link in the description below if you guys want to play around with it as well. And if you're not familiar with what we'll be doing for the rest of the video, I go off and I find a rig that I've never used before. It's a free resource for you guys to play around with, and give ourselves around 48 frames, give or take, depends on the idea and depends on the day. We kind of just hang out, a little bit of over-the-shoulder animation guide, talking through the process, just the bulk of why I do this each and every day. is to hopefully encourage you guys and inspire you to go off and create your own stuff each and every day using your own unique voice and your own imagination. And take another step in your journey towards mastering whatever medium it is that you're passionate about. And hopefully also so you feel like you're not alone in your art or creative day. So you feel like you have another buddy in the trenches with you, fighting each and every day. And I urge you guys to subscribe to the channel too, even if you don't end up watching my videos, but just so that kind of the reason why I try to keep a good work ethic as well is even if you don't have time to watch one of my videos or something, if you subscribe, when it goes through your feed each and every day, you'll see like a reminder that I put up a new video, and maybe, just maybe, that might spur on kind of a reminder of what we've talked about here, to that you know, you're not alone. You should take another step in your journey, and to be encouraged and to be inspired and go off and create your own stuff. So that being said, let's go ahead and start playing here. And let's move this, move that back. I know, kind of getting back to that, because I don't really like to focus on views or subscriptions or any of that kind of stuff, but I did want to talk about that a little bit, just because whenever I see someone that I like put up new work, I always get inspired and go, oh, you know what, I should get back in there and do something. So that's kind of the mentality behind that. You know, I just want to be here to help you guys and inspire you and offer what knowledge and insights or mistakes that I've made that maybe you guys can avoid, or any of that kind of stuff, just to try to be a helpful resource that wasn't available when I was first learning animation. And I'm still learning. It's a huge process. Great, wonderful skill, and I think the right mindset is to say that you know, you're always learning and you never give up that learning process. To me, at least, that seems to be kind of the correct mindset to have, at least at this stage in my journey here. Let's go and push that forward and bring that back here, bring that arm out a little bit. It's kind of a fun little rig. Yeah, let's maybe drop that hand over and down, something more like that. Normally I would just try to use one axis for the elbow, because that's really typical of how your elbow works, but in this case I want to get a little bit better line throughout there, so I think I'll stick with something like that. Try to find a fairly interesting pose to go with here. More of a dynamic pose than sometimes we're able to get in here, and we'll do a little walk back here. A couple of backward steps throughout this thing. Let's push our posing a little bit more though. Push this one back a little bit more. Gonna bring the hips down, back a little bit. Push this foot back a little bit more. And push that one forward just a little bit. And then let's do a little bit of rotate X here. Try and push that belly down if we can a little bit. Just want to create a more interesting storytelling pose to start off with. Might be a little too pushed. Let's do something more like that. And we'll bring the hips back up a little bit here. Alright, and let's see here. Do a little bit of tweaking with the mouth. Let's go ahead and save our file. We are using Autodesk Maya 2014 for today's video. For more information on that and all the stuff we've talked about so far, check out all the links in the description below. Let's go ahead and set our frame range. I might go a little bit slower. I might do this on 7s instead of 6s here, just so it's a little bit slower, but I think we'll start there. Let's make sure we just have our NURB curves, NURB surfaces, and polygons selected. We'll go ahead and grab everything and we'll set our first key there. 14. We'll bring that back. And we'll go 28. And then we'll lock that in and bring that back. Move our hips back here. To be a little bit further, trying to look at the spacing between the feet. Make sure the spacing between this leg and that leg is pretty similar to the spacing there, just so we have kind of consistency in there. I'll go ahead and grab this one, set that there. Oh, we got 42, right? Bring it in. Then we're on 14 frames from that, so that'll put us at 56 frames. That we'll probably be using for this one. And we'll lock that one in there and bring that back. So this isn't a cycle. This is going to be more what we would do for like a feature animation rather than a video game style animation. This last one needs to be a little bit further back. Yeah. We'll push that back a little bit more. Okay, that's alright set up here. So let's look at the feet. Let's go ahead and just lock them in. So make sure we're keying all our attributes. We're just going to go back there and just hit S on our keyboard here. And let's go ahead and look at this first one. Let's go ahead and lift that up. Bring it down. And lift that up. Bring it down. So let's see. Alright, and let's look at the other side. I think I'm going to play up with the timing on these a little bit more. Bring those up, but we'll just get a basic idea for what we're looking at. Okay, so let's have this land one frame sooner. So window, animation editors, graph editor. Let's have this go one frame sooner here. Let's look at our translate Y. Let's tone down that second upward step a little bit more. Let's look at our translate Z on the hips. Let's even that out, because right now it's kind of easing out of that first position and easing into the last one. We kind of want to make it more of a constant here, so it's just going to move pretty much the same amount throughout the shot. And let's make it fairly constant. Let's go and look at that now. I think I might favor it up just a titch. the siren should be going right. Let's delete everything on there. Maybe that's a problem. Let's see that now. There we go. I knew we had it keyed and we didn't need it to be. There we go. So we can get those going. Okay. Because that's part of the fun of this rig. Okay. And now let's slow those guys down. We'll only do like 4. Let's slow this down to like a main siren offset. 0. Let's see now. Alright. And main siren speed is 1. What if we crank those up a lot more? No? Let's see. Let's try to speed up again a little bit more, I guess. Okay, let's start building a little bit up and down into here. Let's go up here, down there, up here, down there, up here, down there, up here, and down. Okay, too exaggerated, so I'm going to pull that back quite a bit. Balance it out a little more. Let's see how we're doing. And let's have this one maybe start 1 frame sooner on the translates. Still a frame where they're both together. And let's look at the rotate Y's. Do a little on this side. Go back to that. Little on this side. Go back to that. We're really favoring one side for sure here, but we still want to give a little bit of twist and tilt as we go between the steps here. And let's look here, we'll do the same here. And let's rotate X though. A little bit back there, a little bit forward that for a little bit longer. And then overshoot and pull back a little bit, so we'll have to do it a few frames sooner. And then we'll get back to about there. Overshot a little, or recoiled a little too much there. I think we need about 2 more frames there. Maybe 1 less frame getting into it. I'll hold it for a little bit more. Maybe 1 frame shorter so it really pops into there. Let's ease into it a little bit more. Give ourselves a few more frames to get in there. And then we'll maybe delay these 2 by a frame. I like how that end works okay, but probably we can get a little bit of variation for you. Then I want a couple more frames of hold, so I can still get this hold for a little while longer. Let's try it now. It still feels like maybe give ourselves 2 more frames. Just like a little bit of recoil I didn't like. Maybe we'll let ourselves ease into that a little bit more. Let's see. There we go. Maybe 1 too many frames. Get there, so let's trim by a frame. I like the variety of the timing a little bit better by slowing it there. And I think we can still hold it for maybe 1 more frame, and then maybe we'll give ourselves a little bit of movement in between there as well. Move that back to there, so we still have a little bit of overshoot here. Maybe 1 more frame at the beginning. Slow it down a little bit more. Still feel like we could hold this for about 2 more frames though. Let's try it now. Yeah. That way there's a little more texture to our timing there. Feels like it takes too long to get there now though, so I'm gonna go cut a frame out of there. And maybe we'll cut 1 more frame out of here so it really launches into there. The timing's a little bit better. Let's go ahead and just do a little bit of swing on this arm, not much. was a little too much, so let's cut that to about half of what we have. Because this is just more keep alive than really anything. Alright, and let's look at forearm here. You know, we haven't saved our file in a while, so let's go ahead and do that. And go ahead and go up a little bit. And down. Up. Down. And then back again. Too much up. So let's minimize that. And let's see how it looks now. Okay, now let's look at this hand here. Do a little bit of rotate. Okay, we're just gonna have to do this universally. A little bit of tilt up. A little bit of swing down. And a little bit up. A little bit down. And bring it back around. I think we could maybe slow it down by about a frame away from the extremes we have, so that'd be just about like what, 10% or so less. So we make one frame sooner our extreme, which just trims down the movement a little bit. Yeah, I still feel like these are a little too high on the swing ups. Just tone it down a little bit. Alright, let's look at the foot, see if there's any. I don't think there's a, yeah, nothing we can really do for a toe break here. But we can still do some rotating here. So let's rotate this one back from there. 3 frames. And 3 frames, we'll put it into it. 3 frames will go back. And 3 frames will go in. Let's look at that now. It feels a little bit like too much in the beginning, so let's tone those first ones back. The ending feels alright for the rotation. And let's look at this one. And let's go at 7. We'll rotate it back, down, back, and down. So there's a little bit of variation between. Let's look at the hips, see if we can loosen them up a little bit. Just do a little bit of side to side here. It's probably too much, but let's scale it back here. And we'll go back to where we were here. And let's do a little bit of rotate Z over the planted foot, just a teeny bit. And we'll go back to zeroing that out. Let's see. Feels like that's too much. Rotate Z. So let's scale that back to about half of what we had there. And then I think we'll still offset it in the chest as well. Alright, and that means we gotta use the rotate. Is it gonna be Z here? I doubt it, but let's see. Yeah, a little bit. That's a little bit much here, so we'll have to be careful there. just the teeniest amount here, because otherwise it's going to mess up the rest of the stuff we have. And we're just trying to loosen up that middle section a little bit more, so we don't need a ton of that. Okay, I feel like it holds for too long now. So let's cut a frame out of here. Maybe two. Okay, and let's do a little bit of compression in the chest. So we'll rotate that forward and back, and forward and back. And we're definitely going to scale this back and offset it as well. And let's see here. Alright. Bring that up. That up. That up. Here. And like I said, we'll scale it down a little bit more. And let's focus in and really balance this out even more, because we don't really want, we just want to feel this. We don't want to see the hips swinging back and forth. We just want the little bit of a kind of accordion effect to go through the belly. So let's see. So that's what we don't want. So let's go ahead and offset that here. Back here, forward there, back here, forward there, back here, forward there. Alright, I feel like this might take a couple of passes here to get that working right. But let's get started here. Balancing this out. Down, focus in a little bit more. Hey, let's see that now. Feels a little too much on the booty, so let's scale it back to. Now it feels too much on the chest, so scale it back on the chest. Let's see. Okay. Maybe a little bit less. It's pretty close there. Alright, and then let's look at the hip itself, and maybe we can do a little bit of down here. And then up. Just to add a little bit of kind of overlap and drag into the movement of the hips and the torso itself, just to kind of mix it up a little bit more. Okay, a little bit over the top, so let's scale it back, but I think we got something that might be workable with that. Let's scale it back to about 25% of what we had there. Now let's see it now. Could still be less. And let's look at the head. Let's do a head shake. too much too over the top. I feel like the timing's okay, but it's just too much movement. So let's see. And maybe do one more move. Let's bring that back there. Keep that. More smaller move. Let's see. Maybe we'll make those a little bit smaller overall as well. Let's have about 2 frames sooner. Maybe let it kind of blend that move in there. Let's delay it about 2 frames. Try and get some of that head shake to work into here, so it doesn't feel like it all just stops. Yeah, let's delay it about 2 more frames. Let's see that. It's close. Just kind of want to blend those movements together a little bit more. Maybe we'll tone them down a little bit more. Yeah, it's a little better. And I think I want to try and ease into this hold a little bit more. It feels like that hold locks a little too tightly. So maybe we'll set it there and delete that one so we have a little bit more movement in between there. Let's see. Still feels like it locks off a little too much. Maybe let's delay these guys 1 frame here so we still have a little bit of movement. We'll delay this guy 1 more frame too. Then I think I need another couple of frames of hold so we get that texture from that in the last movement so it doesn't feel like it's the same beats there. So let's delay it. I'll give it another 2 frames to hold there. as well. So drop it down a little bit here. Shoot it up and over. So keep it at 0 there. Alright, let's see here. So right about here, we want to overshoot a little bit. So start out just a little bit of ease there. Hold that for a little bit more. And I want to hit this one at about 54 and 52, so we have a little bit of overshoot there as well. I think we need to hit this one at about 48. Maybe 50. Which means we'll need to hold that for a few more frames. And we'll hit that overshoot a little bit sooner. I feel like that starts too soon, so let's delay it about 2 frames. It should start about here. Alright, let's see. What about this thing? Maybe we could give a little bit of up and down there. This should be the down position. Goes down, so delays there. So 10 would be the extreme up here. And 3 be another down. Just so we got a little looseness here. We don't have to do this, but I think it'll add a little bit of more variation to our timing and everything here too. That's 7 frames from that. That would be 31, 38, and then 45, 52. And we'll go back here. Okay, and let's just do this in the graph editor. So we just want a little bit here. We don't need a lot. Put that one back up here and minimize that just so we have a little bit of give from there. A little less up, a little more down. Yeah, it does feel like it goes up too much, right? So let's just take this universally and we'll drop it down a little more. smaller, because this would really only be affected by the upper, or the screen right leg. I don't know why that took so long to get out. Screen right leg. Okay, so that first move should be bigger, and then the next one should be smaller. Look at the rotate Z's as well, so that first move should be bigger. The next one should be smaller, so it should be something like that, I think. Let's see. Okay, just so you have a little bit of looseness there. It's not the greatest, but it'll work. Movement this way. And let's scale that back as well. And what was that? Rotate Y. Just a little bit of that. I don't know if that helped anything. So let's minimize that quite a bit here. Let's see. And let's still take those translate Y's and just cut them back even more. Feels like there's a little bit. What about his hat? Is there a controller for the hat? Because then we can do a little bit. A little bit on this one. Set a key there. There, set a key there, set a key there. Just trying to mimic the timing that I have on the head, and then I can delay it. Oh well, it was worth a try. The way it's rigged up doesn't look like we have anything. We can still do a little bit with the mouth here though. And this is way over the top, but we can do a little bit of open and close, so there just seems to be a little bit of movement at the jaw there, just so the face doesn't feel like it's so rigid. And again, we'll cut that to only about 10% and then probably keep cutting it from there, but let's see. This is where it would be the extreme down, right? And then we need another one here at probably still too much, just so we have a little bit of give there. Yeah, let's universally drop it a little bit more. Right. Just so we have a little bit of looseness in that face. I think that'll work for today. We could definitely keep playing around with this one for a long time, but I think we've got an idea that works. So let's take a look back at where we started. We're looking at the beautiful work of Todd Lockwood, and he said, inspiration is everywhere. I think I'm always looking at things. It's all grist. It's all useful. I think it's a great mentality to have everything in your life try and flow in to be useful towards whatever thing you're passionate about. So try and find your inspiration in every aspect of your life, and take another step in your journey each and every day. Thanks for hanging out with me. I love you guys lots. I hope you had fun doing this one. I had fun. This is kind of a little bit different one. Thanks for all the likes and subscribes, and I think that'll wrap it up for today. So we will see you. Did I tell you guys I love you? I love you. You're amazing. You can do it. Stick with it. Don't give up. We'll see you for some more animation tomorrow.